Well, hello guys. Long time no see. I'm really sorry that I've been MIA for so long. It's been quite a while since I've done a video. But there's also been quite a lot of things going on in my life. And so I thought I would just come on here and have a little chat with you, grab you a cup of coffee, a glass of iced tea, or a cup of hot tea, whatever it is you would like to drink right now, some hot chocolate. Sit back and relax and let's just chat a while. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I want to let you all know what's been going on. And I know you're probably thinking, oh no, here she is again with another video saying she's going to do more and then she won't do it. I know that has been the pattern. Excuse me. For, I say probably last 6, 9 months, maybe even a year. That's been pretty much the pattern. But there has been a lot going on. There's been a lot of emotional things going on that I didn't even realize was going on. There's been sicknesses. There's been just the cares of life. Just I had kind of gotten depressed and did not even realize I was depressed. I didn't realize that was what was actually taking place. I just thought, well, I have been scrapbooking so long that I've just kind of got away from it and don't care for it anymore. But in all reality, it was depression that was making me not be interested in any of my hobbies that I was doing. My crafting, my scrapbooking, I really had even gotten to where my dolls didn't appeal to me. And I didn't realize what was happening until last night. And there's been quite a bit going on. So I really wanted to come on and just kind of let y'all know what has been happening in my life. I love my YouTube channel. I love my subscribers. I love every one of you that interacts with me, that comments, that likes my videos, that shares my videos. I'm thankful for each one of you, and I really have been missing it. But like I said, I didn't even realize what was actually happening. I do. You know, I have a history of depression, and but I just didn't realize just, you know, kind of how bad it had gotten. So I had just kind of got in the mully grubs and just basically I had gotten to where all I ever did was do what cleaning I could do, and the rest of the time I just sat on the couch and watched videos all day. I just, you know, I'd watch your crafting videos. I would watch doll videos. I would have vloggers that I watch. I even guys, I started watching dumpster diving videos. I'm telling you, I had really got in a bad shape. And I'm not saying that I'm completely out of it right now. It's just I've come to the knowledge of what is going on, and I'm trying to push through it. I'm trying to get victory over it. We went to church last night. We have church on Thursday nights, and we went last night, and we had an excellent service. My husband's the pastor, and he put a chair out front and had, you know, each one that wanted to sit in the chair, and then all the rest of the congregation gathered around and prayed for them. And I feel like the Lord really touched me last night. I feel better today than I felt in a while, although I still have a dull ache in my heart, and I'll tell you why. Some of you may already know from the post I put on Facebook. But I gotten to the place I wasn't interested in doing videos of any kind, whether it was crafting or daily vlogs, or I seriously had gotten to the place that all I felt like doing was just sitting on the couch, and I don't know if you would call it just brooding. I don't know. I guess that's not the right word. Mourning, not really mourning, because there wasn't nothing to mourn over. I don't know. I had lost interest in everything. I hardly ever get out of the house except for to go to church when I'm able to go. I got to the place that I don't go get groceries anymore. I do Walmart grocery pickup, and hubby goes and picks it up. I really had just got to a bad place. And like I said, I'm not saying I'm completely out of it. I just have come to the acknowledgement of it, and I'm trying to press through it. But the past 2.5 weeks it's been a real struggle. It has been a very sad 2.5 weeks. And I'm going to try to talk about this without crying. About 2.5 weeks ago, I can't remember, I think it was like on a Wednesday night, in the middle of the night, early Thursday morning maybe, is the way my husband likes to put it. Anyway, it was, we were in the bed asleep in the middle of the night, and I hear something. And Ringo has always, Boston Terriers has this trait about them that they cover themselves up. You don't have to cover them up if they get cold. I had a blanket in his pen, and anytime he got cold, he'd root around, and he'd do until he was completely, perfectly, the blanket tucked up under him, just snuggled in. He's done that ever since we had him. And so I was used to hearing him, clawing around at night, trying to get his blanket fixed, if he got cold, and he trying to get under it. And I was used to hearing that. But this night, that noise woke me up, and it just kept on and kept on. And I said, Ringo, because sometimes I would do that in the middle of the night. If he just kept on with his blanket, and I'd say, Ringo, and he'd kind of settle down then and get fixed, and I'd hear him blow, he got fixed and he got settled, so he was letting out the air and everything like they do. And so he just kept on and kept on. So I said it the second time, Ringo, and he kept on. This was just within a few seconds, maybe a minute's time, that this was happening. And then all of a sudden, I raised up in bed, and I called my husband. I said, Randall, what's wrong with him? And so my husband gets up and turns on the light. He says, oh my God, he's dying. I said, no. And I wear a CPAP machine. I jerked it off, and I ran over there. Well, he was in the pen, but he was having a seizure. He was laying on his side. He was jerking. He was just pedaling real fast. That's what was making that noise. And his tongue was sticking out. His head was kind of to the side, and he was just foaming at the mouth. He was having a seizure. I come unglued. Oh my God, I come unglued. My husband and I both started praying for him. He picked him up because he was choking on his slava because it was foamy, and it was, it was just sticking in his throat. So my husband turned him over on his belly where he could, the saliva and all could come out of his mouth. So the seizure passed, and he quietened down. Well, after the seizure, he was not himself. For probably 30 minutes to an hour, we couldn't get him in to lay down. He was pacing back and forth, and he looks kind of wild-eyed, like he didn't know what was going on, and it was horrible. So he finally quieted down, and he got back in the bed, and we was scared to death. I mean, every little racket we heard, hubby and I both was raising up and checking on him, making sure he was all right. Well, he didn't have any more seizures that night. And so, but after that, even, after he calmed down from that, right after the seizure of him just being out of it, after the seizure, even though he calmed down, he still just didn't act right. He just kind of acted kind of like he didn't know what to do with himself. He kind of, he just paced, and he just wasn't himself. So then, 2 or 3 nights later, I think it was like early Saturday morning, or maybe it might have been a Sunday morning, I can't remember, in the middle of the night. It was, during the middle of the night. Well, this night, he didn't stay in his pen. When he felt, I guess I don't know how dogs really feel or think, but my thinking was that he remembered the feeling from the first seizure, and when he started feeling that, he got up out of his pen. I don't know, but anyway, he was not in his pen. He was standing up. I heard him get up, and I heard him making a funny noise, and so I jumped up out of the bed, and he was standing there, and his head was to the side, and he was making this, kind of shaking and making his tongue sticking out, and him foaming at the mouth and making a noise. And so I hollered, "Randall, he's having another seizure." So he jumps up, and we lay him on his side, and we rubbing him and praying for him until that passes. And so then again, for about 30 minutes or an hour after the seizure passed, he wouldn't lay down. He was pacing, and he was just miserable. And then so we finally got him to lay down again. That was the second night we'd lost sleep over him. Every little sound, we was jumping up, checking on him. It was horrible. And then that was the week before my husband started his vacation. So come Monday, let me think. We didn't do it Monday because we took my mother to the doctor Monday. She had to go to the doctor Monday, so yeah, I think it's the way it was. Yeah, she had a doctor in the city that's an hour away from us, so hubby went with us, and we took her to the doctor, so we didn't take Ringo to the vet then. So then Tuesday, Monday, Mama had, what she went to the doctor for was pain management to get the shot in her back she gets every 2 or 3 months. So then on Tuesday, she had a doctor's appointment with the family doctor, her family doctor here in town. And so I took her to that, and while we were at that, my husband went to the vet here in town, which is the vet we've been using all along, and told him about Ringo, even took Ringo there, and which he's the one that had already told me that Ringo had a very bad heart murmur, and there was really nothing else they could do for him. Just in other words, he didn't offer anything extra. He just said there was nothing you could do for him. And so that's what he also told my husband that Tuesday when my husband took Ringo to the vet. He didn't touch Ringo. The vet didn't. He wouldn't look at him. He didn't give him no medication. He wouldn't do anything for him. He just said, that there was no hope. He's had a bad heart murmur. If he gave him seizure medicine, it would make his heart worse. In other words, there was just nothing else they could do for him. Well, Ringo's my baby. And I didn't realize how much attached my husband was to him. And we really didn't want to accept that. So we took him on Matter of fact, it might have been that afternoon. It was. We took him to a vet in a town that's like 30 minutes away. We took him to a vet there. It was, yeah, it was that Tuesday. And, she didn't really give us any hope for Ringo, but she did give us seizure medicine, and she said it is very hard on their hearts, but she also gave him something for his heart, but she wouldn't give him his annual shots. She didn't check him for worms. She would not do anything else for him but for the seizures and the heart. She said, we're going to see what this does before we go into doing anything else to him. And he just wasn't able to handle anything else. So, she gave us the medicine on that Tuesday. And she told us that to give him just the seizure medicine, he had to take a pill twice a day. Just the seizure medicine until, she said, you can start giving him the heart medicine on Friday if you want to. She said, but I would rather, if you could just wait till Monday. That way we'll be in the office if you have any questions or there's anything that you need to bring him back for or whatever. So we decided we'd just wait till the Monday. So from that Tuesday until Monday, we gave him, faithfully gave him his seizure medicine. But it had him in such a shape, guys. I was miserable watching how miserable my baby was. Oh my goodness. He paced and he wasn't himself. Of course, he was like that even before we gave him the seizure medicine, but it seemed to be worse after the seizure medicine. Now, it did make him sleepy, so whenever it first started dissolving, he would get real where he was pacing, until it really, dissolved, and it would make him sleepy, so he would finally go lay down and go to sleep. Well, then right before time to give him the second one, he would start pacing again, and, and then we would give him the pill, and as it started dissolving, he would pace more and kind of just look wild out of his eyes. He started attacking Lucy. Him and Lucy never did really get along, but he was more aggressive with Lucy. He never got aggressive with us, but he was more aggressive with Lucy. He was not himself on that seizure medicine. He was not himself, and it got worse. Well, then the weekend, he got diarrhea. Saturday and Sunday, all day, he was running in and out, had diarrhea. And my Ringo is a good baby. He would not use the bathroom in the house. He threw up a couple of times in the house after the seizures and all. I guess it just messed his system up and everything, and he threw up a couple of times, but he didn't not one time use the bathroom in the house. But he would take off running. I knew I had to go open the door. He needed out. And so he had diarrhea for 2 days. Well, Monday morning, which was this is Friday, this past Monday, my husband told me he was going to go on to work. We had planned that Ringo was just so miserable that on Thursday, which was yesterday, that when my husband, he only works a half a day on Thursday, and we had planned that we was just going to go ahead and take him to the vet on Thursday and have him put to sleep. Well, things just progressed and got worse, and Ringo was in so much misery. and he was keeping us in misery. We was exhausted taking care of him. It was just a bad situation. So Monday morning, my husband told me, he said, I'm going to go on, because he goes into work early. He said, I'm going to go on into work, and about 8 o'clock, I'm going to get off, and we'll take him to the vet here in town and have him put down. That was the most horrible situation I've ever been through in my life. I knew it was going to be hard to lose Ringo, but I had no idea, guys, how hard it was going to be. I didn't break down Monday when we took him. But I had a little argument with my husband, because my husband just wanted to take him and let the vet take him back and put him to sleep and us not be back there with him. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. Ringo's been here for me for 13 years. He's been my companion. He's been my friend, my best friend. Very best friend. He's been here with me when nobody else was. And I had him before I had the other two dogs, when it was just me and Ringo here, when hubby would be at work and children not around and grandchildren not around and no friends around, and it just me and Ringo. And I talked to him all day long, every day, unless we both settled down and he took a nap and I got busy doing something, you know. But if I was up and around, he followed me from room to room, and I would talk to him constantly. He was my companion. And I told my husband, I said, I will not let him go back there and then put him to sleep without me being there with him. And it's the first time I've ever had a dog or animal of any kind put to sleep, so I really didn't know the process. My understanding was they gave him, you know, this is just, nobody ever told me this. This was just my conception of it, hearing people talk. I thought that they gave him one shot, or, you know, whatever animal they was putting down, they gave him one shot, and it's like they slowly just went to sleep and then just eventually quit breathing. Well, it wasn't that way. And I was right there with him. I was holding on to him. I was rubbing him. I was right there with him. They give him 2 different shots. The first shot is to make them go to sleep, like if they're going to put them in surgery, where they won't know nothing that's going on. They won't know. They won't have any distress if, you know, when they actually give them the shot to put them to sleep, you know, to take them out. You know, they knock them out, and that's the first shot. That's the one we was in there with him. And he said, the vet told us, said, and see, all of this I didn't know and understand, because I'd never been through it before. But the vet told us that, he said, now when we give him the shot, he's going to just scream. How you call that? In other words, poop. You know, all of his fluids, everything's going to come out automatically. Excuse me. He said that's normal. That's just what they do. And Ringo, I think he got nervous. But he still. At first, my husband had carried him in and set him on the table, and he got really nervous, and he started whining and pawing and looking at me like he was trying to get to me, or that's what my thoughts were. And I told my husband, I said, he wants me. So I walked over there, and my husband moved out of the way, and I stood there and held him. But later, and I realized it later, but my husband said, no, he got nervous. What it was, he got nervous because my thoughts was, oh no, he knows something's going on, you know, and he's whining, and he don't want this to happen, you know. But, you know, he really didn't realize that, but that was my thinking at the time. And my husband later said, no, Ringo has been taught not to potty in the house. He got nervous, and he already had diarrhea, and he needed to go out. He said that was what that frantic needing to get down was. And I realized, because that's the way he would do at home when he need to go outside. He'd take off running to the door, like, get this door open, I got to get out. And I realized later that was how he done, it's just he was on the table and couldn't get down, so he was trying to get down and couldn't. And, but anyway, so I stood right there with him, and they took his paw and they put, the shot to make him go to sleep, not the one to knock him out, put him down, but the one that made him go to sleep. And so they got it in his arm, and the vet said, now it's going to take 5 to 8 minutes. We'll give y'all that time with him, and then we'll come back in. Well, they turned to him and the nurse, or the lady helping him, whatever they call them, turned and walked out. And as they were pulling the door to, Ringo fell over. Just that fast. And he had already said it would take 5 to 8 minutes for him to go completely out. But he fell over. By the time they had the door pulled to, he fell over on the table, and he started just, they had laid him on a towel because, that they knew that's what happened, and so he just started letting all the fluids out, and we just kind of covered the towel up over the back end of him, and I stood right there rubbing him, and I didn't break down. I just stood there rubbing him and telling him I loved him and all of that, and before 5 minutes was up, the vet stuck his head. I'm sorry, guys. I told y'all this was going to be a long video. That's why I warned you to get you something to drink, sit back and relax. But anyway, the vet stuck his head back in the door, and he said, he's already gone. And my husband said, he's gone. And, talking about asleep. And so the vet come on in, and he said, well, I don't remember if he told me right then or if it was later, but he told me, he said, for him, he said, it usually takes them 5 to 8 minutes. That's why we give you a little time with them. He said it usually takes 5 to 8 minutes for the shot to just actually put them completely to sleep. And he said, but for him to fall out that fast and be out that fast was a sign that there was things going on internally in him, which I know he had the heart murmur, but he also had like fatty tumors all over his body. So it could be that the poor baby had cancer. I don't know. But I didn't break down that day. When my husband come in from work that morning, he got in about 8:30. This was before we took Ringo. He come straight in. He went the night before. Actually, might have been a Tuesday this happened. It was Tuesday this happened, not Monday, that he was put to sleep. But anyway, the night before, I can't remember, guys. I'd have to look at the date. I can't remember. But anyway, the night before, my husband had built a little box to put him in because we knew we was taking him to have him put to sleep. So he had built a little, I call it a casket. It was like he was my baby, So anyway, my husband acted in ways I never thought my husband would have acted toward an animal. It was comforting to me. I hated to see him suffering, but it was comforting to me to know that he was feeling the same way that I was feeling. I know I'm probably crazy, but anyway, it was. And but he had built a little box to put him in. And then when he come in that morning at 8:30, when he got in, he said, I'm going to dig the hole, so when we get back, we can just put him in it. Well, after we went through all of that, back to being at the vet, when the vet came in, and then right here is when I realized there was 2 different shots. Well, he kind of said it at the beginning, but I don't know, it just didn't really dawn on me, I don't know. Because I was so distressed and really wasn't comprehending everything that was going on, I guess. But anyway, when he come in after Ringo had, went to sleep, he come in and he started, Ringo was turned with his feet toward us. Well, the vet was standing on the other side of the table, so he takes him by, and this like killed me, but he takes him by his four paws and he turns him over toward him where he could see his neck and all. And when he did, I went like that. And so we kind of just backed up to the head of the table there, and they took a razor, like if they was going to cut the dog's hair or whatever, and they shaved his little neck. I guess it is goozle vein. I don't know what you call all that stuff, but I guess that main artery. And they had it shaved, and he was fixing to do something, and he looked up at me and he said, "Do y'all want to stay in here for this part?" And I looked, and I didn't say nothing. I just shook my head and turned around and walked out. So I don't know what happened after that. I don't know what they do after that. But he had told us that earlier, before he actually put Ringo to sleep, he told us that what they usually do is they give him the shot, let him go to sleep. And this is where it didn't just really all comprehend. And then they come in and they give him the shot that actually takes them out. And he says, then he said, because they excrete all their fluids, we usually tie them up in a black plastic bag and take it to your vehicle, and that way, you won't get anything in your vehicle. And my husband said, we don't want him in a bag. He said, I brought a box. He took the box with him, and we had his little blanket that he always covered himself up with, had it pretty and straightened out in the box, and my husband said, I've got a box for him. I don't want him in a bag. We'll just put him in that box and it'll be okay. So the vet said, okay. So we left the box in there with him, when we walked out of the room. And so when we went back to him, they had him, they done what they had to do because he was miserable. He would have eventually died anyway, but I didn't want him to suffer. I didn't want him to suffer like he was suffering. But anyway, they had him laid on his side inside the little box, and had him covered up so pretty, just wrapped the blanket around him nice and pretty. No wrinkles in the blanket. It was so pretty. And so my husband checked it, and he said, yeah. And so he just put the lid on it, toted him out to the car himself. He wouldn't let them tote him. And see, all of this was just, it was just, I don't know, my husband acting like that was just such a comfort to me. I don't even know how to explain it. But anyway, we come straight home, didn't even pull up under the carport or nothing. We went around to the backyard. My husband pulled up. That's the first time I'd seen where he dug the hole. He put the grave under a beautiful tree out there in our backyard. And he had the little grave dug just like if it was a human grave. Had the pile of dirt there on the side just like a human grave. And he took the box out of the car and went and set it down by the grave. And he asked me, he said, do you want to look at him one more time before we put him down? And I said, yeah. So he took the lid off and raised the blanket back, and I rubbed Ringo on the side of his face and told him I loved him, told him bye. And my husband covered him back up with the blanket, put the lid back on it, and set him down in the hole. And I stood there while he covered it up. Through all of this, I didn't break down. Then Mama had her health workers coming in all that day. Tuesday, yeah, it was Tuesday we put him down because that's the day her workers come in. And one of them when the nurse came in, I didn't even come out of my bedroom. I didn't even show my face. But I didn't really I cried a little bit, but I really didn't just break down. Then the one that come in to help Mom get her shower, I did walk through the living room while she was there, and Mom had already told her about Ringo and what all happened, and that we had to put him down. And as I walked by, Tammy had said something about, she was sorry or whatever. I don't even remember what she said, but I just asked me how I was or something. I said, just don't talk to me. Because I was afraid if I started talking, then I would just break down. And so I just went on into my craft room and left them doing their thing, but I still never broke down. But come Wednesday, I was in such a shape, guys, and I felt such a pain. I actually thought I was not going to make it through it. I thought I wasn't going to make it through it. And I'd tell my sisters on text, I'd say, I'm dying. I'm dying. Y'all please pray for me. I'm dying. I can't handle this. It was awful. And I finally broke down Wednesday, and I boo-hooed, and I cried, and I boo-hooed, and I cried, and Mama never knew it. She was in her room with the door closed, and she never knew it, but I cried, and I cried, and I boo-hooed, and oh, the pain, guys, the pain was awful. It was awful. And then I got a fear. Then I had to start fighting this fear. Oh God, if I'm this bad when my dog dies, what will I do when my mother passes away? Or if my husband passes away before me? Or, my children or my sisters? How will I deal with it if I'm hurting this severely over my dog? I will not be able to make it through somebody close to me dying. I have lost both of my grandmothers, but we wasn't real close. I lost my dad. I did a lot of crying before he actually died. I was here. He had to be put in the nursing home, and he got really bad, and I was in and out, and how it is with the care of someone that's, bad off. I was just exhausted, and I had done everything I could, and I've never really been real close to my dad. I loved him, and we did visit and talk, but we never just really had, like I see these other daughters and dads have a relationship. I never had that kind of relationship with my dad. And it was horrible. It was bad. I cried a lot beforehand, and then during the funeral I broke down and boo-hooed. And I think about him now. It hit me, and I think, oh, my dad's gone. I'll never see him again. And stuff like that. But I have to be honest with you. I know that sounds horrible. But this pain with Rinko, when he died, when we had to put him down, I don't know if it's because I kept praying, Lord, I felt like if he would just die on his own, it wouldn't be as hard on me as the thought of me taking him and having him put to sleep. I know it's for the best, because once animals dies, that's the end. They have no soul. They have no hereafter. When they're gone, they're gone. It's it. They just go back to the dust of the earth, and there's nothing else. So once once the animal passes, they're free from any sorrows, any pain, it's like they would never existed. As far as, there's them having a soul or knowing anything afterwards. They don't. And so I knew, I didn't want him to suffer, and I knew it was best for him because he was miserable. He was suffering so bad. And I didn't want that for him. But I just kept saying, Lord, please, just tonight when we go to bed, just let him go to sleep. Not feel anything, just go to sleep into that eternal sleep. And not suffer, and me not have to make this decision or not have to do this. Because I felt like if he just died on his own, it would be bad. And I don't know, it may have been just as bad. But I just feel like because of the way he, us having him put to sleep, really, really affected me. I feel like it's because I was already, I know it would have been horrible anyway, but I was already in a state of depression, guys. I'm bearing my heart to you. I guess I shouldn't do this, but I was already in a state of depression where I had lost all interest in everything that I normally enjoyed doing. I just sat around, just did things I had to do. Don't get out of the house. I still, I'm just kind of, since last night, got over some of this feeling. And like I said, I'm still not completely out of it, but I'm working. I'm striving. I feel like God has touched me and gave me strength to press on, that I can get on out of this. But I feel like it was because I was already in such a state of depression. I had already felt before, even before Ringo had the first seizure, I was already feeling like, I'm just living, just waiting. It's like I was just sitting here waiting. I couldn't get involved in anything because I was just waiting. Waiting for what? I don't know, but I was just waiting, That's the only way I knew how to explain it. My children live off. My grandchildren are pretty much grown, and they got jobs. And my younger son that lives on the coast, that's away from us, 2.5 hours away from us, his children are not grown yet to be out on their own. But they live away from us, so I don't see them very often. I just stay in the house. I don't get out and go shopping. I do all my shopping online. I just had gotten to the place that I really didn't even know why I was existing. I didn't want to kill myself. I never have felt like I wanted to kill myself. I'm scared to death to die. I don't want to die. So that has never crossed my mind. But I really would think, what is my use? What am I for? What am I here for? I have no purpose, no interaction with human beings except for my husband and my mother. And my husband works every day, just 5 days a week, and sometimes 6. And when he's not on his job, he's piddling around outside and doing things he wants, and not in here with me. And I can't expect him to sit in the house with me anyway. And I'd see people when I go to church, but as far as having friends to go out and do things with, or having my children around, or my grandchildren around to go out and do, I was just here. Mama's not able. I take her to the doctor when she has doctor's appointments, and by the time we get through with the doctor, she's in such a shape, we got to get her back home. There's no way she can go shopping and do things. And so I just sit here. I don't get out. I don't do nothing. I had just completely lost interest in everything. And so when we had to put Ringo to sleep, when we had to put him down, it really, really affected me. But then, like I said, we had church last night. I felt like I got a touch. I don't feel that such pain that I feel like I'm dying. I still feel an ache in my heart that wouldn't take much for me to cry about it, Ringo. It's still that ache, and I know that ache could be there for a while, but I also know that it will get easier. As time goes, time heals, I know it will get easier, but I was saying that I got a fear. I don't know if I completed this sentence a while ago, but in all of this, I had gotten a fear that if I'm this bad, yeah, I do think I did say it, what will I do if my mother or my husband dies? I don't think I'd live through it. And I've always been very dependent on my husband. We married young. I was 16 years old when we got married. And I depended on him. I've never worked a public job. I have worked like house cleaning, ironing. I worked at a little shop one time. I guess you could call that a public job. It was like franchise of curves, the exercise machines. I would go. I worked a little while where I would go take it, watch it, and be there for when the owner left and had to go do things. But as far as going out, working on a public job, I have never done that. I've babysit, I've cleaned houses, I've ironed clothes for people, things like that. But working at the little curves, little country shop in a little country town where everybody knew everybody just about it, and I would go stay, and be there when the owner had to go and go out, and do things, give her a little break and time to get out. But that's the only thing I ever done. So I've never been independent. I don't get in the car and go off on long trips by myself. I don't even get in the car with other people, friends, sisters, whatever, and leave my husband and go for girls' weekend. I've always been, I wanted to be with my husband. That's what I married him for. I wanted a companion, and I don't like to leave him. I want him with me if I go somewhere. So it's been very few times that I've went off and spent time away from my husband. And so I get to thinking about that. What will I do? What will I do? And so that fear just hovered. It just hovered over me. Wednesday, it was just, and yesterday until church time, it's just a heavy fear of I won't be able to live if something happens to my husband or my mother. I won't be able to live. But then, like I said, I got prayer. Well, everybody in church did that last night. Like I said, we had that chair out and everybody prayed for everybody. But I felt like God touched me and helped me, and it has given me strength that I can cope with this and pull myself on out of it. So that's why I've went around the world to tell y'all this. That's why I'm doing this video today. Like I said, I had gave up videoing. I gave up crafting. I just got in that slump that I wasn't interested in anything. But I'm getting back into it. I'm not going to promise an everyday video. I'm not going to say that it won't hit me and that I might even go a week or so without doing a video. That's, I'm making no promises of how many videos I will put up, how often. I'm just saying I am working on pulling myself out of this depression, out of this hole that I have gotten into. I'm working on it, and I have always enjoyed doing my videos and reading your comments. And so please comment if you've enjoyed this video. If you haven't enjoyed this video, I don't care. Leave a comment. I want to hear from you people, because whenever I read your comments that you are commenting on what my video is about, I feel like we are communicating. I feel like I have friends. I feel like I have people in my life instead of just being me in a world. Wednesday and Thursday until last night church, I felt like I was totally alone in an overcrowded world. I had to go out in town to pick up my mom's medicine. I had to do this and that, but I felt so alone. Even though there was people all around, I felt like I was just kind of like in a bubble by myself, and nobody seen me. Nobody knew I was there. It was just awful. And like I said, I am not completely out of that, but I'm working. I'm working on getting out of it. I don't want to stay in this slump. I don't want to stay in this condition. And I feel like the Lord has given me enough of strength that I can work against it now and pull out of this. And so one way of doing that is making this video, having this chat with y'all, letting you know I'm going to do my best to be back on here, asking you to please like, subscribe, comment on my videos, and interact with me, because I need you. You are my friends. You are my friends. So I need you. So please comment and interact with me. And like I said, this is a long video, and I'm sorry for taking up so much time. If you have stayed with me to the end of this video, please like and comment this video and let me know you stuck with me to the end. I need you, guys. I need you. Okay, so I have made a haul video that I'm going to try to get up after this one. And I'm not going to promise what my videos will be about. It will be, some of it will be crafting. Some of it may be just a daily vlog. It may be a cook with me video. I'm just going to do what my heart feels for that day, whatever it is, whether it's crafting, but I have subscribed again to a scrapbook kit. Guys, I started this feeling really started way back when I started giving away. Remember, I did a purging of my craft supplies and started just giving away packages every week. I gave away a new pack of a different pack of my craft supplies. It really started back then. I started losing interest slowly in the things that I normally enjoy doing. And so I do have craft supplies, but I have purchased a few random kits, scrapbook kits along the way that was just, I would subscribe to it and unsubscribe and subscribe and unsubscribe. And I got several kits from close to my heart. But I've subscribed to Scrapbooking Store, not the scrapbook.com, but Scrapbooking Store, I think is the name of it. I just found out about it. It's a monthly kit you subscribe to. You can pay for it either, pay for it monthly or every 3 months or every 6 months or yearly, I think. I think there's 4 different ways to pay for it. The paying for it yearly naturally is you pay the least per kit. I think it's like $12 if you pay for it, prepay for a year. It's $12 per kit. But I didn't have that all at one lump sum, so I'm doing it monthly, which is going to be $13.99 per kit per month plus shipping. So that is an excellent deal from what I've seen. You will have 12, if I'm not mistaken, 12 double-sided 12 by 12 sheets of paper and a few embellishments. I really didn't want a kit that gave a lot of embellishments because I like to make my embellishments. And as you will see on the video I put up after this, I have an Etsy shop, and I'm going to be the haul that you will see, the video after this one. I'm going to use those supplies and others that I have here to make embellishments and things to put in my Etsy shop to sell, to help me make a little money to pay for these kits that I get each month. I'm not trying to be rich or anything like that. I just would like to make a little extra money to give me something to do, something to look forward to, something to occupy my mind with. And if I'm able to sell these items, then I'll feel that it's important to make them so I can sell them. But if I don't sell them, then I'll get back in thinking, what's the use to make them? Nobody's buying them. I can't just make them and stack them up. I can only use so much, and so if I can get the Etsy shop going and people purchasing from me where I can keep making items and put in there, I think that would be something that will help me to keep my mind occupied. I'm trying everything I can think of to help pull myself out of this slump. And I'm calling for your help. So guys, I'm going to get off of here. It's already 53 minutes I've been on here. Like I said, if you stuck with me, bless you. I hope you have many blessings today. A good afternoon. And I'm going to get off of here so I can get other videos up and do other things. So I will talk to you good people later. Leave comments below. I'll be glad to answer everyone. And I will see y'all tomorrow, hopefully. Bye.